Yes.
Thank you. You working? Yeah, so it took me about 25 minutes to go through this thing, so I'll skip my name. I'm going to explain that this is a part of my thoughts. I have this model of an utopia in my mind, which I chat about with other people. It's something that I build on my spare time, and this is a small part of it. And this is a speech derived on the communication part of my utopia. My speech is, as you can say, why do I think that our languages are broken and what should be done about it? This is quite of a basic philosophical idea if you want to go deep into the things that we do as humans, and communication is one of the more primitive ones. So why do I dislike languages? Well, this is an English-speaking event, but since this is an English-speaking event, I believe all of you have had the experience of learning a new language, and it isn't easy. And it isn't easy because most of the languages that we use are too complicated to be learned by someone who wasn't born with that language. Even though I use English every day, my English isn't perfect, and it should be. Because why shouldn't it be? My mathematics is quite good, and I don't even do that every day. So there's some logic in languages that isn't easy to learn. And yeah, they divide us. So some people have said that languages divide us more than countries, more than any other things in our societies. They build nations, that's true. Finland, well, maybe Finland wouldn't be a nation if we didn't have our own language, but I don't think that we should be focusing too much on that. And then there's the issue of face-to-face communication not being the same as writing letters and writing emails. The way we communicate face-to-face isn't the same. If I move my hands, then you have no way of writing that down. You can always write that he had his hands wave around while he spoke, but our languages aren't too efficient for doing that. And yeah, spelling bees, if you speak English, then you should know about spelling bees. Spelling bees, to me, they are an event which celebrates the faults in the language. If you can have a spelling bee in a language, then the language is broken. It isn't supposed to be like that. Like, why would you want to have something that's difficult to say out loud? Why would you want to have things that you have issues understanding? Yeah, and poetry. If I have a blue pen here, then if I make a poem about my blue pen, someone is going to read that poem and wonder why am I talking about a sad pen, and it's just a blue pen. So why does our language have this bias towards having these meanings which things don't really have? Or at least they shouldn't have if we want to be logical. So what woke me up? I had this really long philosophical fight with one of my buddies. It took about 6 hours, and it was about law. So if we have a law saying that there's a sentence for killing someone, is it the same if the law says that you will be sent to prison, or if it's the same if it says that the sentence for killing someone is a prison punishment? And just the distinction between the meaning of what the law says and what happens. We couldn't figure out that the other one of us was speaking about the actual events which happened. They will always be the same no matter how you express it. But the other one of us was speaking about how the sentence is laid out in the law. That's a little bit of a difficult thing to explain, I guess. I was doing language philosophy last summer, and I came across some artificial languages, and I thought that they could fix a lot of these issues, and I've been fascinated by them ever since. So can we fix these things? At least some. We can try to make languages that are easy to learn. We can try to make languages that can express things that our natural languages can't. And I think we should. And there have been a couple of attempts. Some of them have been accidental. For example, these things. I'm not really a fan of emojis, but they can be used to communicate feelings in a way that our natural languages can't. But I think they are broken as a tool to do this, since you can speak them. And if you can't speak them, then they are just another way of diverging the language that we speak and the one which we write. And that drives me mad. So, oh yeah, and no one really understands what they mean. I guess you can always say that the smiley means happiness, but that mood, for example, there are so many ways people take that, and it's not even the worst one. Then we have Esperanto. I actually speak this language, and they have a couple of million of speakers. It was a pleasant learning experience. It was the first time I actually enjoyed learning a language for the sake of it. So that was a nice thing. It could fix the issue of having language divide us, but nowadays I believe English is the strongest candidate for a common language for all of us. So if that language is English, then I guess I'm okay with it, but English is way too complicated for me to be recommending it as one. And in my utopia, doing things the easy way, the simple way, well, in my utopia, Esperanto is the way to do it. But Esperanto is only one of these languages, and then we have Lostone. Lostone is my personal favorite of all the things that exist, probably. I have a book here written in Lostone. None of you have probably heard anything about Lostone before, and this is a constructed language which is absolutely perfect. If you can imagine a thing which is broken in any of the languages that you speak, then Lostone probably has a fix to sort it out. I have a couple of examples. So we have attitudinals in Lostone. They are like spoken emotions. I can say, ui lo latu, which means happiness, cat. So happiness, the cat. So saying or writing ui latu is about the same as saying it in a happy voice. So it's cat and a happy smile. It's that, but it's written, and you can say it out loud. And you can have the most robotic face on you can have the most robotic facial expressions. You can be the most unhuman human you can be, but you can still express emotions while you speak via these small components. I could say oisai lokanandu, which means I am complaining that this thing is difficult. I can say, oh yeah, the sai part means that it's a complaint with the strength of 3. We have mathematical ways to express how strong the emotion is. And ianai lomlatu nenri lothanke. That would mean I find it difficult to believe that the cat is in the box. Isn't that amazing? And spelling. So no homonyms. If I say something, you should always be able to write it down, even though you would have to learn the way we spell things in Lostone before that. And everything is spelled, so that's a small example of how to spell out a mathematical equation. Vei means that a bracket begins. Veho means that it closes. Veha means that there's an exponent. Pi means pi. Pa means 1. Suhi means added. Apu means a. So I can say Vei, pa, suhi, apu, veho, veha, pi. And that's an actual mathematical equation. And if you have ever had the situation where you have to spell out mathematics, or maybe some more complex thoughts, ideas, then it has been difficult. But in Lostone, you can do it, and it's great. It's absolutely great. And we have no silent letters, so we don't have the Q situation. The International Phonetic Alphabet says that you are supposed to say Q, but does this look like Q? It doesn't. And we have no bias. So if I say that I have a blue pen, then it's always a blue pen. It isn't a sad pen. And I think I have some examples. Yeah, and poetry doesn't require a broken language. Some people consider this to be an extremely artistic language, and you can do amazing things with it. You can make music. People have done that. People can write books in it. This is Alice in Wonderland, by the way. And that would be Imi pensi shaho vansido, idahi makasnu vaho, lonu do na utol shanshi. So that would be, I think of you each evening. The things that happened, and I don't really know how to translate the last one, but it refers to past things. There's the pool. I think it means the things that happened, but in another way. Anyhow, I'm still learning the language, and it's fun. So I think that was it. I guess that was a little bit long one.
I kind of want to be selfish and use the question quota.
Okay.
So don't you think that the language would get much less perfect if people actually started to use it and it started to mutate along with people's usage?
Well, natural languages don't really have any institutions which are governing the language. So in Finnish, we don't really have this central authority which is doing the changes in the language. But in Lostone, we have online votes about features being taken as a part of the language. So if someone thinks that this change should be done, then they have a vote about it. And it's like a democratic language in that sense. I guess normal natural languages are the same way too, in a way, but they don't really have the restrictions. They never really have had them, so they evolve a lot more freely, and sometimes it's a great thing, and sometimes it creates a lot of issues, and we have homonyms, and we have spelling bees and things like that which throw out of them.
Cool, thank you.